singer named Justin Moore.
We don't do a whole lot of bullshitting up here. We just get up here and play country music.
Hey, check 1 2. Check 1 2. Everybody, welcome to the Justin Moore podcast, and today we've got a very special guest. One of the original members of the quartet you know today is the Oak Ridge Boys from Bruton, Alabama, Mr. William Lee Golden. I'm going to try to see if we can get him zoomed in on the Zoom machine. I can see him. If he can sound half as good as he looks, we'll be all right. Can you hear me, Brother William Lee? Can you hear us, brother?
Must not be able to hear us.
Well, here we are, me and Justin Moore hanging around, going to throw y'all a little 4th of July weekend present. I know we were going to say we're going to take a couple of weeks off. We may end up only taking off 1 week because we got an absolute friggin' legend trying to link up. He might be the highest of level rednecks, tech rednecks like we are. But here in a minute, hell come high water, we're going to have William Lee Golden on from the Oak Ridge Boys. And he's got a new book out, and I chugged through it. Oh, I just got a text. I'm getting a call now. It says Oak Ridge Boys, Nashville, Tennessee. Let me check this.
And knock on wood, my Wi-Fi is rocking right now for the first time in a month.
And he just called me. JR. William Lee Golden. It's like, yes, sir, I know.
I knew it was either William Lee Golden or God.
Yeah, right. One of the two. I love how when he called me, his phone number was Oak Ridge Boys, Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, you didn't have it saved as that?
No, it just popped up Oak Ridge Boys.
How does that happen?
I guess you got to be doing it for a while to get one of them numbers.
Wow.
All right, I think it's coming in. I heard something.
1 2.
Got us now?
Yeah.
All right. I can see and hear you. There we go. It takes a while for an Arkansan and 2 Alabamians to get all this high-tech shit going. But, brother, we got it, by God. It took my wife to get me going, his wife to get him a new computer, and yours to get yours going. It's a team effort to get this Justin Moore podcast rolling.
Right.
Well, it's good to see you, Brother William Lee Golden. We appreciate you taking a little time to talk with us today. You got a new book coming out or came out. I just got it in the mail. Scott and Jeremy and them sent me a copy a couple days ago. Yes, sir. And I hadn't.
All right.
That's right. And I thumbed through it. I didn't get it in time. I ain't a very quick reader. I'm about as fast reading as I am working on these computers. So I did do a little bit on it. Man, absolutely fascinating. I love how you said it one time. It feels like you was getting out there and getting naked. You just kind of wish you'd waited till you was in your 80s before you got naked in front of everybody. I thought that was pretty.
Yeah, that's what kind of writing a book. You kind of it's like taking your clothes off. Because they want to know a lot of juicy stuff about your life, and
right.
Especially when you've kind of lived a life like I've lived, and so yeah, it's all in there. I mean, talking to there's a lot of stuff in there. There's over 200 photographs in this book. There's a lot of rare photographs, naturally, of me that no one's ever seen, but there's also a lot of photographs of the Oak Ridge Boys that no one's ever seen. Going back to when I joined the group, in 1965, and through the years, and anyhow, there's a lot of great classic photographs of the Oak Ridge Boys too, and going back to my childhood, growing up on a farm in South Alabama, right on the Florida line. My daddy was a big cotton and peanut farmer, and that's kind of where I started. But I grew up with music in my life. My granddaddy Golden was a fiddle player. And he played in the frolics and the barn dances and square dances. But later on, he didn't play fiddle as much, but he had a radio show, and we'd get on. He'd let my sister and I. My sister was older. She played mandolin, and I played rhythm guitar. When we were real little kids, I mean, I was 7, 8 years old. I'd learned to play the guitar, and she taught me, and she played mandolin. We played Louvin Brother type songs. We'd play. The Great Speckled Bird, Roy Acuff's old song, Hank Williams songs, I Saw the Light, Kitty Wells, Mansion Over the Hilltop, a lot of Louvin Brothers songs, but we was a little kid act, I guess, playing and singing, and we sing at all the churches around, and Fifth Sunday meetings, and high school events, political rallies. We'd sing everywhere. But, and that led me to high school where there's pictures in the book of me and the FFA quartet. That's the first quartet I ever sang in. With the bass singer was the FFA quartet. And but we sang all over too, and sang competing with other high school chapters. And so we won the South Alabama district of competition and high school competition with quartets and bands. Either schools, some of them would have bands, some of them would have quartets or singers. And anyhow, this was my first quartet singing in the 11th grade in high school.
And that was Bruton. You grew up in Bruton, Alabama, correct?
Right south of Bruton, about 6 miles south, and right on the Florida state line.
Right.
Our land was right on the line.
Gotcha.
I grew up. You could throw a rock into the Florida from where I was born.
Gotcha. Yeah, I live full time in Gulf Shores, Alabama now, and I'm from. I grew up in Elmore County, Alabama. I grew up near Lake Martin, near the community of Kalijah, Alabama. And,
yeah.
And Justin is from South Central Arkansas, which he lives back home in Arkansas as well. So we just a bunch of country boys out here coming from the farmlands of America. I know.
Yeah, Mr. Golden.
Go ahead, Jess.
I was just going to say you answered about 3 of my questions in the initial going there. But before we really get started, I just wanted to say it's an absolute pleasure to have you, and an honor, and thank you so much for spending a little time with us. We very much appreciate it. We had the opportunity to meet you with the rest of the Oaks. I want to say it was at a festival a few years ago.
It was a festival.
Yeah, big festival up in Ohio, I believe.
I don't know if you remember, but I believe it was up on y'all's bus where I said, "Hey, can I film us singing Elvira together?" And I don't know if you remember that, but I had some, hit records at the time and some success. That was the first time my dad and my grandfather admitted to me that I had, quote, made it when I sent them that video.
Well, good.
Dude, we'll never forget. We tell the story because, like Justin, it's one of my favorite memories. I still tell that story when people ask me about, have you met so-and-so or so-and-so? I was like, yeah, but that ain't nothing compared to singing Elvira on the Oak Ridge Boys bus with them. And we loved it because you guys were just like we are, just like brothers, still after y'all been doing it all these years, nothing's changed. Y'all were all on the same bus. And I remember 3 of y'all were up there and Dwayne was in the back somewhere, and he comes out of the bathroom in his drawers, and Joe goes, "Hey, Dwayne, put some drawers or put some pants on, man. These boys want to get a picture with us." So he's like, "All right, let me get some." He had a $300 pearl snap on and his tidy whities. He had to get on back here and get him some pants on. We just thought that was the funniest thing. Dwayne, put some pants on. Now these boys want to get a picture with you. It's kind of thing. But we had an absolute ball up there doing that. Yeah, I'll never forget that. And yeah, just we're gonna do the relation thing. I remember we met that day and we briefly talked about it. But yeah, I'm back down here full time, and he's in Arkansas full time. And it was funny because I got an email saying the book had just came out from your publicist, who I know, and so I sent him a message. I said, "Buddy, I'd love to get a copy of that to talk about on the podcast." And I said, "I don't know if he's doing any media right now, but we'd love to get him on." And he said, "Well, let me see what I can do. We ought to be able to work that out." And then it's just how crazy things work out in the world. It was literally about 4 days later. I'm in Nashville getting off our band bus because we had done a show down in Murfreesboro, and I had moved my truck over by the bus to get all my crap off before I headed back south, and I hear a knock on the bus door. It was kind of halfway open. I hear, "Hello?" He goes, I hear somebody say, "Hey, is this your truck out here?" And I'm scurrying up to the front. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, mind you away," because I knew the lot beside us where a bus was supposed to go, there wasn't a bus there. And I come around the corner, and hell, I thought it was you. And I did a double take. And he said, "Hey, I'm Craig Gold." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "This is so crazy. I just was talking about your dad, like a couple of days ago, and then you jump on because for everybody out there listening, Craig's one of William Lee's sons, and he's got the beard like Brother William Lee does. So when he come around the corner, I thought, I was like, is this a 1989 model William Gold, or am I mistaken here?" And I just thought it was funny because the irony of I was just trying to work it out, and then 2 days later. Yep, there he is. See,
There he is.
that's him. That's him.
That's
Wow.
it.
And that's the whole bunch there.
Yeah,
we
that's
had
all my boys.
we had a great time talking. I got to catch up. He was filling me in on what Rusty and Chris have been doing because I had met them years ago and hadn't seen them in a while. You know, hell, like we said lately, ain't seen nobody in a while. It feels like after last year.
I know. We all been grounded, you know. We've been, I guess, sheltered, they call it.
Yeah.
So,
And that's got to be weird for you guys because y'all aren't one of the bands that just play like a legacy act. Y'all play like a regular touring act. Y'all do tons of dates throughout every year. And
we normally do about 150 days a year, really.
Wow.
William Morris keeps us busy, and but it's kind of what we've been doing every year, right about 150 days. And that's including like about 30 days of Christmas tours, so which we do every year.
Right.
We did it on the road for 30 years, and last year we sat down here in Nashville at Gaylord Opryland Hotel, and they have a big Christmas spectacular with ice shows and all that, and a dinner theater show with the Oak Ridge Boys, and so we did our 29 Christmas shows here last year. At the kind of the end of the pandemic, it was all social distance, but and then we're coming back this year. So it's the first 2 years we've been able to do a Christmas show and come home, sleep in our own beds. So that's kind of what we're doing. But 30 of our days every year is Christmas shows. But man, we're out there on the road hard every year, and so it's been, the pandemic has been it's been frustrating, but it's also, rather than me sit here and get all upset about something I have no control over, can't do anything about. I got outside the house. I had to get away from television, all the hate and the violence and it's spewing out from every side, and I had to get away from it, man. It was bothering my spirit. I got outside and started having visions of these old songs from my childhood. You know, going on a pandemic, it takes you back to where you're coming from. And so I started these songs. I couldn't get them out of my head all day. And so I talked to my boys, and we started doing some pre-production, and went in the studio and started recording. And we've done 32 songs just with my sons.
Wow.
We've got 3 album projects. We've got, and I did an album with the Oak Ridge Boys with Dave Cobb producing this past year. So in August, I had been in the studio for a week with my sons when I went in this, and we'd finished. The first album was a gospel album, back to my childhood. Then I went in with the Oak Ridge Boys, and we went and did a whole new album with Dave Cobb producing it.
Is that the front porch singing?
Front porch singing. It's just out last Saturday, so it's a brand new album. And then I went back in the studio when we finished that with my sons. We did 2 more albums. We did an old traditional country, back to classic old country songs. I did Buddy Cannon came in the studio with us, was there helping kind of direct us and producing and guiding us. He recommended I do I Still Miss Someone, old Johnny Cash song. Mm-hmm. And a song I brought in was an old song called 4 Walls, which turned out great. And also sang Welcome to My World. These are old classic songs.
Right.
And then I did Me and Bobby McGee, Jambalaya. I did, but yeah, we did 32 songs, an old country rock song. And my sons, the third album we did, we kind of, each guy took a couple of songs. I did, it's more of a pop country rock album, the third one, featuring all of my kids and myself. I did the Paul McCartney song, The Long and Winding Road, on that third album. Chris did the Tom Petty song, Southern Accent.
Ooh,
Great song.
yeah.
My son Craig, that you met there, with a long beard, man, he sang the old Greg Allman song, "Multicolored Lady."
Oh yeah, off his
And
solo album. Yeah.
yeah, it's a he killed it, man. It's one of
Wow.
the best cuts of the album. And Craig is a great singer. He's just too shy to do it. But I got him in there. He did it, man.
That's
It'll
awesome.
blow you away when you hear this. I'm telling you. And we got Steve Henson playing with us, slide guitar and steel and dobro on some of the stuff. But that I finished 5 major projects in 12 months. And a new book, a new album with the Oak Ridge Boys, and three new albums of old songs with my sons, the Goldens. And we had to get away from the hate negative and get into a creative thing. And it's been healing for us, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So that's kind of where
That's
we're
awesome.
at here.
Yeah.
That's
And I did. This is out now. The Oak Ridge Boys' brand new album, Front Porch Singing, is out now. And these 3 projects that I did with my sons, we've shoved it a little further out to release it rather than get confused with the brand new Oak Ridge Boys album. But this late in the summer, I've got 3 albums that are coming out. Everything that we did in the studio has been videotaped.
Oh man,
We've
awesome.
got videos.
oh wow.
And we've also, since recording it, we've been here out on the property in different settings, creating brand new music videos with, I think we've got like 14 brand new music videos created on top of what we've got in the recording studio. So one of my best friends is Jeff Panzer. Jeff Panzer is he's a television producer and director from Los Angeles. He's been a longtime friend. I met him in 1981 when he was doing a piece on Alabama for ABC 2020. He was an investigative reporter doing all music pieces with ABC 2020 when we met. But we've been best friends since. He did a piece on the Oak Ridge Boys in 1981. And then he left ABC, went to LA and got in the music business heavy. And he was the head of Universal's music department and as far as the video department over all their labels. So he's put together all these videos. And when this starts coming out, it's going to be coming for a while because we've got an arsenal of old gospel and old country rock songs. We're mixing country and rock on the 3rd one, and it's my family, who we are, our inspiration, and that's what we did in the pandemic. Is we went back and said, who are we? What music has influenced us? Where are we coming from? Let's play it and sing it. Let's get in a positive mood here and step away from all the negative, and then capture that.
That's pretty awesome to hear. And I knew a couple of your sons in particular had played music and even played in your band, your solo band, if I'm not mistaken, at one point.
Right.
I didn't know that all of them were musical, though. That's pretty cool to hear. And also cool to hear how you kind of took advantage of the time in the pandemic. You've absolutely been successful in making me feel lazy because I didn't accomplish near that much. I thought putting 2 albums out during the pandemic was getting it done, but certainly the 5 or 6 things that you mentioned, and not to mention 14 videos that are yet to come from that. So be looking for that. I'm sure on all platforms from William Lee, and he showed you his book Behind the Beard, so make sure to check that out. I can't wait to to do that myself. Like JR, I read as slow as I talk, or maybe slower. So it takes me a little while. But that's got to be to me the pandemic kind of. I don't know. It made me and my family lead a much more simple life in a positive way. It kind of reminded me not only of how I grew up, but maybe the era or the time in which I grew up, which was the the mid to late '80s, early '90s, and we didn't have these cell phones and all that. And I myself have 4 children. I have 3 daughters and 1 son, and we try to do our best to keep them off the iPads and pods and phones and all that stuff. And the pandemic really, I think, yeah. Well, in the pandemic, I will say this. We didn't do a whole lot right, including teaching math and science when they were sent home from school. But we did a good job of that. We went out and planted a garden. They were out on a tractor with me. Just different things like that. And that was one of the positives out of so many negatives, as you kind of alluded to, from this window of time we've all had to navigate, which is just unreal. But the other thing is you kind of touched on getting back out on the road and doing y'all's Christmas shows and all that. And JR and I have had many conversations on and off this podcast about how crazy it's been, because we've been on the road now for, I guess, 15 years or something like that, thinking that's a long time. If I'm not mistaken, you guys have been out doing this hot and heavy for, I'm talking with the Oaks when you joined them, and I believe you said the mid 60s. That's 6 decades. 6 decades. So imagine we're thinking, golly, we've done this for a decade and a half, which is a long time in our business, and because it's so competitive, as you know, a lot of people don't get to do it for that long. But 6 freaking decades? Are you kidding me? I mean, you can't even fathom that. I mean, it's hard to fathom. And successfully, not doing it just for the sake of doing it and having a high level of success is amazing.
Been fortunate. And I still work out every day, man. I do 150 sit-ups before a show. I do 25, wow. And I sit there and catch my breath, and I do 25 more.
It's so inspiring.
If you don't keep yourself in shape, you can't play in the major leagues. It happens in sports. It happens in music. Wow. I get out and walk. I did 100 sit-ups the other day here, and then walk 3 miles. So I have to do that at my age. I found that if I need to concentrate more to focus on making sure that every day I spend time to keep myself in shape, and that's kind of how it works for me.
Well, that's why you got all these pictures in here in your book with you without your shirt on, and you look a whole lot better without your shirt on than I do, because you do all them sit-ups. I thought, like I said, I've been a big fan of you guys, Justin and I both, since growing up. I grew up in South Alabama and South Mississippi, and him in Arkansas, watching you guys on all the, just you, one of the most iconic groups of all time in country music, definitely the most recognizable. You, obviously with the beard, since you did that, and I read in your book, it was 1979 around Christmas. You said that was the last time you ever shaved.
Yeah, that's right.
And I
lost my razor. I lost my razor, and I still hadn't found it.
He lost his razor the same year I was born, Justin, 1979.
Oh my gosh!
So 41
well, it's
years.
Funny because I was gonna ask if there were pictures in the book, because mine hadn't arrived yet, without the beard.
Oh yeah.
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 A lot of them without the beard. Most of them without the beard,
Yeah,
so,
with the GI haircut back in the high school days. And I thought, what I thought was really neat that I didn't know, one thing I definitely took away, a lot of stuff, and I haven't even got all the way through the book yet, but a few things I took away that, being a big fan, I still didn't even know, and I know fans of the Oaks and fans of country music in general are going to be surprised, like I was, that you just think it was always you 4 guys and Oak Ridge Boys. But the originally it wasn't even the Oak Ridge Boys. It was the Georgia clodhoppers that would go up. The only outside group that would go play in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, because it was a secret base where they were working on the Manhattan Project. That was the only outsiders allowed on base, and they were there so much that they eventually that name wasn't going to work. So they said, we'll just call them the Oak Ridge Quartet, and that was in the 40s. Well, fast forward, and then it ended up being 5 or 6 of them. And fast forward to the 60s, you came along, and out of the current lineup, you were the original member out of the current lineup. It was you, and then a couple years later, you got Dwayne.
Yeah.
And most people would never even know that. And there was 5 or 6 of y'all when you first started, and then now it's the 4 of y'all who've been together since the mid 70s. The same 4.
73, I think.
Okay.
73 was the last Joe joined. So he's a new guy.
Yeah, he's been around 40 years. He's the new guy. And then I didn't know. And another cool little tidbit I thought was really neat, and it goes back to you growing up, down here in South Alabama, was that this is so funny, Justin. I know you hadn't got this yet, but you'll love this part too. So, Mr. Golden was delivered by a man they called Doc Tippin. So. Had nothing thought about, just the local doctor who delivered him and his brother, Ronnie. And then fast forward, and your sister too. And so fast forward to years later, he's playing the Grand Ole Opry or something, and Aaron Tippin goes up to him and he goes, that was my granddad who delivered y'all. So
no way.
Aaron Tippin's granddad was the doctor that delivered.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and Dr. Tippin sounds like a character name that could have been on Gunsmoke or Bonanza or something.
Yeah.
That's a great name.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. And then a couple of things. One, I noticed I didn't know this too, about y'all going and singing on the Slip Sliding Away, the big Paul Simon song. Never knew that was y'all singing backup on that album or on that song all them years. Huge song. And I guess they didn't put it in the liner notes, but he just heard he loved y'all's harmonies and wanted y'all to be on that record.
Right. We met him at the Grammy Awards in Los Angeles and talked to him. And he invited us to come sing with the Roach Sisters first, that he was producing an album. And then we went up, sang with them. And then 2 months later, he called and said, hey, I've got a song I'd like you to come help. We went up, sang on Slip Sliding Away. And no one ever knew that was the Oak Ridge Boys. But
wow.
That is the Oak Ridge Boys.
Hey, I got.
I'm amazed by you guys.
That's why he does all them sit-ups.
That's why you don't see me with my shirt open on stage, because I don't do those sit-ups. Simone
telling me that I'm out of time here.
Okay.
I've got another deal coming up here or something. So
okay.
Am I?
Yes, sir. We sure appreciate you, Brother William Lee. And whenever y'all get whenever that new music comes out, I'll get with Craig and we'll get all you guys on. Maybe we'll do it when we're in Nashville together or something.
Let's do it again.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
We'll do it.
Certainly enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time.
Justin, thank you. And man, thank you for your great music. And I hope we get to work together more than we have in the last time we saw you was at the big festival. So congratulations on your success.
That's very kind of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you do a great job. We need more great country singers, and you're a great one.
Well, thank you so much. That means a ton to me. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, Mr. Golden. We'll see you soon, brother.
All right.
Have a great day.
Thanks.
Well, that was awesome, man. I know we didn't get a whole bunch of time, but man, what a character, what a nice guy, and what a legacy. Like you said, to be doing it 6 decades. I mean, I feel like I've been in the music business forever. 60 years.
Right. Well, the thing is, sorry for the abrupt ending. That's what you get with a guy who's done it as long as he has. And I was just telling JR off the air that typically we ask how long do we have before we get going, and they had some computer issues early on, so it cut into some of our time. But anytime you have the opportunity to sit down with a legend in any business or any sense of the word, much less our own, certainly you're going to take advantage of it. So sorry that we didn't get a little more time with him. I mean, it was a half hour or more. But I had a lot more stuff I wanted to ask him. So, like he said and JR said, we'll have to get him back on when the music comes out. But go check out Behind the Beard, his new book. One of the things I wanted to ask him, JR, you know me, I love listening to books on tape, especially when you have an iconic voice, and he certainly does. And I didn't get to ask that question, but I can look that up. But check out Behind the Beard. And then, obviously, as he mentioned and we mentioned, got a lot of music coming out and videos coming out. And I tell you what, it was kind of hard to get questions in there, man. He would take off, and it'd be 10 minutes. That's how a pro does it. They talk. Here's what they teach you in media training, which I never had media training. And so, you know, we've talked about on this podcast how we want to give you some inside baseball. Here's a little more for you. When you sign an artist record deal, 99 times out of 100, JR, they send you to media training.
Yep.
I mean, 90% of the time at least. And for me, for whatever reason, they decided your record label is they. I'm referring to them. For whatever reason, they decided I didn't need it. And I guess I was good at bullshitting. Yeah. I don't know, but
or they figured it's just
I didn't
pointless.
go, but what they tell you in media training is it doesn't matter what questions are asked. You talk about what you want to talk about, and he was a pro at that. How many times did he hold that book up?
Oh yeah.
How many times did he reference the albums coming out,
oh, yeah.
the book coming out. I mean, it was total pro stuff right there from William Lee Golden, and thank him again for coming on, and hopefully we'll get him back for a little more time.
Yeah, for sure, and to have a career like that and still just sharp as a tack. That guy's he's in his mid-80s now, and still super sharp, still doing 150 sit-ups every day in 4 shows, getting him 3 miles in. I mean,
I don't know if I've ever done 150 sit-ups.
Been since high school for sure.
I mean, maybe, but it would have been years ago for me. And you know, that's one of the things he kind of mentioned, one of the little tidbits I caught as to why they've enjoyed the longevity that they have. He said, you still got to work out. If you want to be a pro athlete, you got to work out.
Yep. Got to keep in shape.
Same for a singer.
You know,
so that's pretty good insight from a legend. We promised you guys a legend, I think, a week ago.
Yep.
Maybe 2 weeks ago. I think a week ago, though. We delivered.
There you go.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
I mean, and I wanted to ask him about his house that was built in the 1700s. There's all kinds of stuff we can go into with him. So, again, I'm being repetitive, but hopefully we'll get him on again.
Yeah, and that's like we've talked about, you know, the evolution of the podcast. You know, last year when we call our buddies, everybody had plenty of time because no one was doing anything. Well, that's going to be something else too. We may not – it's probably going to be tougher to get these 2-hour talks out of our buddies because everybody's got stuff going on again now. I mean, including you and I.
Thank God.
Yeah, right. So not a bad thing at all.
Thankfully.
Yeah. Hey, that's funny. I watched a documentary recently, and it goes back into what he was saying about staying in shape, and it was the great Doc Severson, the band leader for the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson all those years, you know, played the horn player. It was, I mean, same thing, was in the business forever. I just watched this documentary recently, and he said the same thing. He was probably in his 80s, 70s at this point. He was still out gigging, couldn't stay at home, tried to, but he had some young, you know, people that were some students that were trying to learn some tidbits from him. He was taking a little time with them, and in his full suit, you know, he wore the real cool suits with the tie and all that. In that, the girl was asking, what's one of the most important things to have a career like you've had? Because he did a lot outside of the Tonight Show, which was, I mean, no small feat on its own. But he literally got down in the floor in his suit and went into plank position. And he said the same thing. He said, I do this for 20 minutes a day. I've done it every day of my career for 50-something years. He said, because and he did like this and punched his belly, and he's like, because if you don't have muscles there to blow this horn like I blow this horn every night, you won't be able to make it. You'll end up sick, have to cancel, and do this different kind of stuff.
Wow.
So I guess it goes into it. If you want to have a long career, you know, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can just you can do the John Daly approach, or you can do the William Lee Golden approach, you know, and I guess depends on it's a lot of your body makeup too. You know, some people don't have to, some people got to more, you know, but that was something
genetics.
I didn't know about. But this book is absolutely chock full of tidbits like that. I mean, I every page has got something on there that's so cool. Even to somebody like me who thinks he knows for sure more than the average guy about some music, but there was a whole bunch of cool stuff in this book. And like he said, the pictures are a trip. Yeah, with him without his beard, I mean, he looks so awesome, Justin. I got to show you a couple of these just because it's the awesomeness of it. We want to get him back with some more time and get the boys on, since they recorded 32 albums last year, which is or 32 records last year. Songs, which is crazy. Yeah, here we go, Just. Look at this. So all those are him.
Dang.
Look at that one right there. Look at that. That's what I'm going for.
I like the one on the couch with the cowboy hat. It looks straight out of Urban Cowboy.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many of them in here too. It's him on a horse. I mean, him and Leon Russell hanging out. I mean, it's so cool. Yeah, lots of pictures. I mean, you can barely recognize him pre-beard.
Wow.
Because we've known him with the beard for so long. So, but anyway, yeah, I had a ton more questions too. But when those legends like that, what do you just let them go? And like you said, that's usually the thing. He's gonna, as they say in the wrestling, where he's got to get his shit in. So he made sure to get it in when he needed to. So,
oh hell yeah!
So that was awesome. So we appreciate his time. We're gonna take a real quick break here, and we're gonna come back and do some Q&A. And wrap this thing up and let y'all get on with your 4th of July weekend. We sure want to wish everybody a happy Independence Day out there. While you're out there grilling and chilling, be nice to your neighbors like he alluded to. No need for all that negativity and stuff. Everybody be cool and love one another. But we're going to take a real quick break. Then we're going to come back and jump on a few questions with getting some answers from Justin on some of these I got piling up. Y'all continue to use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast when you're sending in these questions and comments so I can find them. And as usual, remember to like, rate, subscribe, hit the notification button anywhere you listen to the Justin Moore Podcast. Go watch it on YouTube too when you get a chance. And if y'all are around somewhere having a cold beer or a sweet tea and hanging out with some people on the 4th of July this weekend and y'all get to talking about music, ask them if they've heard about the Justin Moore Podcast. If they hadn't, show them how to link it up on their phone, go on the little app and dial it up for them and get them on the train as well, because we're going to take a week off and then we're going to come back with some heat and we're going to rock. We're going to be back on tour. We're going to have all kinds of new fun stuff for the podcast. So y'all stay tuned for that. But until then, hang out for just a minute and listen to our sponsors and advertisers for a second, and we'll come back right here shortly on the Justin Moore Podcast.
Hey guys, I'm so excited to announce an awesome opportunity with one of our sponsors, Bobcat Company. Today we're announcing the Straight Out of the Country giveaway, where you can enter to win one of 3 pieces of Bobcat equipment. They're giving away a Bobcat compact tractor, a Bobcat zero-turn mower, and a Bobcat utility vehicle. The utility vehicle, also known as a UTV, is one that I've been using on my tour, and I can tell you, it's a great machine and one you would be so lucky to take home. To learn more about the giveaway and to submit your entry, go to bobcat.com/country. Hey, what's up, guys? Justin Moore here. I want to remind everyone out there listening that my wife, Kate, has an awesome children's clothing boutique in downtown Benton, Arkansas. It's Central Arkansas. So if you're local, come see us at 119 West South Street in downtown historic Benton, Arkansas. Again, that's 119 West South Street in Benton, Arkansas. And if you're not local, we ship everywhere. So you can find us at shopthislittlepiggy.com and see all that we have to offer, all that my wife Kate has to offer, I should say. Facebook, you can find us at shopthislittlepiggyAR. And Instagram, you can find us at shopthislittlepiggyAR. But check us out. It's called This Little Piggy. And see what we got to offer. ShopThisLittlePiggy.com.
Hi, y'all. This is Brandon Bing, singer-songwriter and whiskey maker. You're tuning into the Justin Moore Podcast. Visit EasyLiquor.com to grab your bottle of Bangtail Whiskey and join the Blue Collar Swaller family today. Follow us on all socials at Bangtail Whiskey for more news and updates. Now pour Jigger and take this 8-second ride with us.
All right, everybody. Welcome back here to this week's installment of the Justin Moore Podcast. We had, man, what a guest we had already on today's episode was Brother William Lee Golden from the Oak Ridge Boys. So good to get
leaving Louisiana in the broad daylight.
It's funny, they have so many hits. And Trying to Love Two Women It's funny because in his book, he's been married a couple times, and that was but he's just so honest about everything, and the way everybody talks about him, even after they've had a falling out or whatever, it's still nothing but love for him because he's just such a sweetheart of a guy. So appreciate him jumping on. I want to say thanks last week to Carly Pierce for coming on. She was great. That was it was a good time catching up with her. And then the week before that, we had our brother Brent Cobb on. So we appreciate all of our guests coming on recently to the Justin Moore podcast. While we're here, Justin, you want to get on a couple of these questions from some of our loyal listeners?
Let's do it.
I got a good stack up here, so y'all keep sending them in. Don't think I've lost them. I'm just keeping. I'm trying to go in order too. I want to get the older ones out and get the newer ones on. So y'all bear with us. Let's see. Oh, here's a ridiculous one. This is from Chris at Wilkie25 on Twitter. Justin, I've been a fan of yours since day one, and I knew you were a Braves fan, and I just saw a pic of you with a Steelers shirt on. Those are my favorites also. Now only if you were a Bama fan like JR and I, you'd complete the trifecta. A big fan here in Northeast Alabama. So, I'm going to go ahead and give you a heads up on that, Chris. It ain't happening. He loves me. He'll tolerate him for me, but no, he bleeds a different color red than we do, brother. But yeah, we all involved in the chop shop. So appreciate that question.
At least we all look good in red.
That's right. As long as the team in red
we
wins.
can all agree on that. Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, and JR and I both pull for each other when we're not playing each other.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like that's a pretty good compromise.
Absolutely, especially for me, because I get to claim all of your basketball and baseball players that end up being. Well, y'all know I'm a closet Arkansas guy. I mean, that was my guy, and even in football, because hell, I've had Hunter Henry on every fantasy football team I've ever had. Alex Collins, I know to get them because I know some people, especially in the South, may overlook, and I'm like, well, they might not have won, 12 games last year, but they got 4 or 5 studs going to the league. So I'm always keeping it back in my mind. Oh, I've watched him because I watch him with you, so I know a little more than the average guy on those Arkansas players. So I'll scoop them up in the fantasy league. Yeah. Looking forward to getting Hunter. I got some Bama tight ends too, so he might have to get in the rotation this year.
Yeah, Hunter just got a big contract. I think he's the highest paid tight end in the league now.
And he should be. Never caused a problem. Always there. He's been hurt a little, but no more than anyone else. And steady as the wind. You throw it that way, it's a first down guaranteed. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, he never misses a ball thrown to him.
No, he doesn't. And us knowing him, knowing how good a person he is and a good Christian and a good man he is and his family and all that, you got to pull for guys like that for sure.
We should get him on too.
Yeah, we need to get a couple of our football, now we can some baseballs. Need to get Coach Van Horn on at some point.
We can get Coach after he cools down.
Yeah.
We can get Coach Van Horn with the Hogs on.
Let both of y'all calm down a little bit.
Yeah. So, it could turn into a bitch session.
Yeah. So
if we don't.
But yeah, that's a good idea. I need to text Hunter and see if he's got some time in the next month or two before they start rocking, because it's right around the corner. I know they've been doing some preseason stuff. Let's see right here. I got one on Instagram. This was come from my brother Elijah Hedge 95. Wanted to get a shout out on the podcast. I haul heavy equipment for a living and listen religiously while driving. Me and my fiance Gabby are getting married July 31st. Congratulations, Elijah and Gabby. And we are obsessed with Justin's music, especially his new album. She's going to do her father-daughter dance to More Than Me. Hope y'all are enjoying the warm weather y'all are getting, even though y'all have to get back to work now. Appreciate that, Elijah. That's a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Congrats. And, the weather. I tell you what, I told Kate yesterday, because we had some stuff to do work-wise, like outside the house. And it's been so hot that you have to work for like 15, 20 minutes and then take like 5-6 minutes off. It's that hot. Mm-hmm. To the point where it would be dangerous if you didn't take that time to chill and have a glass of tea or water or whatever. It's crazy, man, how hot it's been.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's been the same for you guys.
Yeah, it's warm. It's thick. It reminds me of living in South Louisiana this past week. It's just thick.
Thick is a good way of describing it.
If you go outside at midnight if I go out at midnight to let Lola out, I'm sweating. It's just thick. It reminds me of South Louisiana. But yeah, it's hot, and it's hopefully something takes a turn for the better, because our whole country right now looks like we're strapped in this heat wave, and a bunch of droughts out west and stuff. I mean, it's just every day the news feeds, it's kind of grim. So hopefully we'll get a spell of good weather, and not. We need some rain. Don't need a whole lot of storms, but we need some rains, and we don't need it all at one time. We need a little sprinkled around for everywhere out west. So hopefully they'll get some of that. We'll send some prayers up, everybody, for the whole country and the world. We need to do that in general, everybody. So yeah, Elijah, you stay safe out there hauling that heavy equipment, brother, and we'll see you down the road. Keep them between the ditches. Next one I got here is from brother John Glass on Instagram. Hey JR, been listening to you and Justin on the podcast. Think it's bad to the bone. Seen Justin at a few shows in Maryland, one in 2010 and one soon as his Off the Beaten Path album came out. Question: does Justin like playing them smaller gigs or the bigger arena shows? Thanks.
It sounds like an artist speak answer, but I really enjoy both, to be honest with you, for different reasons. I mean, the big arenas and amphitheaters are awesome because there's so many people, and the energy there is cool and different. But I tell you what, it's hard to beat those smaller venues as well, because you can actually see people from the stage. You can actually shake their hands or give them five or whatever. And speaking of energy, it's just a completely different energy. And you know that as well as I do, JR. But I'm an artist. I've always said this throughout my career. I'm an artist who I kind of have to have a mixture of the two. Or
Right.
at least like to have a mixture of the two, because they each provide some different type of satisfaction, I guess.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like you said. Yeah, there's nothing like a big crowd when it's just an arena full of thousands of people and a sea of people at a festival or something. But then there's also, I'm with you. Then you go to play a theater when the sound is just amazing. The lights look awesome. The theater's 100-something years old. It looks cool, and you can see everybody in the crowd's face. All the way back to the third tier, and it's 1,000, 15, 2,000 people instead of 10 or whatever. But and the energy's different. But yeah, you need them both. And for me, that part saves the day for me. I don't know if this makes any sense or not to anybody, but for my job, I look at it as how easy it is for us to get in and out of the venue. How's the venue and promoter treating my team? What kind of facilities do we have? And sometimes the cool old theater may have crappy old dressing rooms and bad showers and this and that, or the new arena may not. But the energy's different, and you kind of need them both. So by the time the show happens, and you guys walk out, and there's that pop, like I always talk about, when y'all walk out and that crowd knows it's y'all for real and not a warm-up, all that just disappears. It don't even matter at that point. Then it's all about the energy of the show, whatever y'all are doing, and how the crowd's interacting with you. So it don't matter if I had to take a cold shower and I had to walk 4 flights of stairs with my luggage to some crappy dressing room and had to go, walk 6 blocks to get everybody food because the runner didn't show up or whatever it is. All that's gone when the show happens. When that first downbeat hits and you go out there and that crowd lights and that spotlight hits you, and I'm like, yes, here we go. And then I forget about all the rest.
Yep.
So basically, like you said, it's that energy and that feel that make the show.
Yeah, and like you alluded to, there's a really cool feeling when you're playing a theater that holds 2,000 people and it's jam packed, or you play to 30,000 people at a festival.
Yep.
And it's just a different deal. And I wrote a song years ago. We've never actually put it out on an album. It's called When the Lights Go Down. It's all about that feeling, because that's the moment we all do all the things that we don't want to do all week or all day at a venue. You having to bitch at somebody about not doing this or doing that instead of this or whatever. You do every bit of it for that moment when the lights go down.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it. No doubt.
Because there's nothing. I've never been a drug guy, and I think I've said this on here, there's nothing that replaces that moment when the lights go down and the crowd goes crazy.
Yep.
There's nothing like it.
Yep, true. Yep, I've dabbled on the dark side of the road, and I can tell you for straight up, yeah, that is one that you can't get right there. That feeling has replaced anything I ever thought I needed. That the feeling we get when we go play successful shows for fans. That's it. When y'all hit that stage and that shot, that's it. That's as good as it gets. I guarantee you. And it goes even better with a nice cold bevy and
I'll get
a little air conditioning.
I'll give you the first verse of that.
Okay.
Because I don't think I've ever played this song for you. But it's pretty cool. It says plug in, amps cranked. Let's see. I'm messing this up. I'll give you the first verse of this because I don't think I've ever played this for you. But plug in, amps cranked, crowds pumped, take a drink, tip your hat, and make them think it's the only show all year.
Yes. I got to hear. I don't know how that one slipped through the cracks on me. I got to hear that because even me, I go out there because when I walk out,
amps cranked.
When I walk out to put
crowds pumped.
Dude, yeah, I know. I love it. No, keep going. No doubt. Yeah, we got to hear that.
No, it's plug in, amps cranked, crowds pumped, take a drink, tip your hat, and make them think it's the only show all year.
Oh man, yeah, and it's like I said, when I walk out on the stage and put your drink and your spit cup out there for you, I can feel the energy from the crowd then because the lights are low and they know, and Raj, they've already got all the amps turned on. So you feel that, you feel that energy buzz on everything getting ready to just take off, and then you can feel the little roar. And I put it down, and like you said, I turn to the crowd, I give them a little tip, I tell them hello, whatever city we're in, and I walk off the stage. All right, they're ready, and yeah, that's it.
I'm getting jacked up thinking about it right now.
I know, right? I'm fired up.
Let's go play.
I know. Well, we're about to play a whole bunch of shows. I don't think we're going to play 150 like the Oaks are this year. Hey, I looked at their schedule. He ain't lying. I mean, they've got stuff booked out through the middle of 2022 already. I mean,
we don't play that much.
No, we try to keep around 90 or 100, but those guys kill it. You know, but see, they come from the world too, where they used to do 2 and 3 shows a day and stuff. You know, that was a thing back in the day.
Yeah, I wanted to get into some of that, but we will next time.
Yeah, for sure. So there's that on the gigs. So we took a little long way to get to it, but all gigs are awesome. Just if the crowd's ready to go and have a good time, then the gig it's a good gig. Our buddy Sam Bell sending some pictures of that black 69 C10 4x4 looking nice. I want to give him a shout out. Keep sending those, buddy. Let's see. Well, this is one we'll do another time. We'll save that one. Let's see. This is from Instagram. This is Fireman1325. Hey, fellas. Hope you're doing good. I have a question for the podcast. I have an Apple phone and subscribe to unlimited music for free every month. Since I'm not buying each individual song, it's a package deal. Do the artists cut any compensation, or I guess get any compensation from Apple Music on that, or is it just when they purchased individually, or how does that work, if you don't mind talking about it? Tell Justin I was listening last week and was happy to hear him mention Spotted Cow beer. I live in North Carolina, but I have a friend who goes to Wisconsin a couple times a year, so I have him pick me up a case or two. It's a great beer. Thank y'all and have a good day. From Todd, the fireman. You know, we've talked about that a few times. Yeah, we've talked about that a few times about the streaming thing. I don't guess you've learned any more about it than I did, because I've had some people tell me.
A little bit. We make a little bit off the streaming, but when you do go download the actual album and buy the actual album, you do make more. I don't know that it's a ton more, because quite honestly, I mean, artists, we don't really make much, if any, money off of albums sold, honestly. But we do make a little more if you actually download / buy the album, as opposed to just streaming it. So there's the answer. I don't know how much more, but it is a little more.
Yeah, and that might be a little
percentages are a little different.
Right, that might be a little behind the curtain for everybody. I mean, I guess it's been probably since the technology age 10, 12, 15 years ago or something. Yeah, album sales, that nobody makes any money off that. That was a time when that was all it was generated by was selling albums and millions of albums sold and dollars and all that. And then
even the beginning of my career, JR, I mean, like our first, I think 3 albums maybe, we sold probably, first 3 albums we probably sold 3 million copies of or something like that. And since then, I guarantee you we ain't sold half that.
Right. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
I remember the first album I worked with you. It was #1 album in the country charts the week it came out, and we sold 116,000 copies or something like that. And then the next
first week or something.
The first week, because they used to always generate how good the album was going to do off the first week sales, which that's rock any genre.
It was the number. I think that was the #2 all genre album that week. We missed the #1 overall by like 1,000 copies or something like that. But yeah, that used to be a conversation you had, and sleepless nights that that created and all that. Now it doesn't even really, you don't even think about it, which is kind of crazy, really. But it's just the way it's changed,
Yeah. I've got a question here. This is from Quinny22 on Insta. This kind of goes along with something we were talking about earlier. Hey, JR, love the pod. Question for our buddy Justin is, when did he know he had made it? Was it being recognized by a music hero of his, hitting up a specific number of #1s, or was it simply waking up one day and saying, holy crap, look what I've done?
I mean, there's so many ways you could go with this answer. Playing the Opry for the first time was like a wow moment. I think having success on our second album for me was a wow moment, because I thought, all right, we're not just like a flash in the pan. But to be quite honest with you, I would say maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, whatever it was, when I realized I'm never going to have to go get a normal job. Like I'll be able to play music the rest of my life and make money doing it, because of what we had accomplished up to that point. I thought, it's pretty cool, man. This, I think I can actually say I quote made it,
Yeah. Kind of like you said,
because
I was going to say, at that point, like you said, you had a job. You could go play your catalog and go make a living for as long as you need to.
Yeah, because, frankly, if you have 4 or 5 hit records or something like that, that doesn't set you up to do this the rest of your life. You can do it some, but not maybe. You still got to worry about doing something else to pay the bills. If you get into 7, 8 years of this, which was, again, 6 years ago for us or whatever, you realize, like, I'm going to get to walk on stage and play music the rest of my life to make a living. This is cool,
Yeah. I didn't know if it might be that, or was it a couple of months ago when Tracy Lawrence told him that he was not your hero, y'all were peers.
That was pretty cool also. Yeah, we were on the bus having a cocktail after a tour date, and I kept, I guess, fanboying him, and he was like, you got to realize, man, this is the story. He goes, I'm not your hero. We're peers. And I was like, wow. And then, when he left, I'm like, well, that was very kind of him to say. And JR and I were talking. I'm like, I guess he's right.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just hard. It's hard to view yourself in that light, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not me trying to be overly humble. That's just the way I kind of view things. Like, I guess it is a humble thing to say, but I don't know. It's wild.
Yeah.
Or when you have like I think it was maybe Dylan on or somebody else we had on recently, and they're talking about this song or that song when they were in high school and they wanted to do this or do that like me. And I'm like, I don't know. Weirded out by it is the wrong thing to say because I'm obviously honored, but it's I don't know. It's hard to view yourself. It's hard to look at yourself and go, I'm one of these guys now. You know what I mean? Like
right.
it really is.
Yeah, and then like William Lee Golden said earlier when we talked with him, he you're a great country singer. They all respect you and love you. So
yeah, I wouldn't have think he'd have heard a song of mine. Like I would think he's probably never heard anything I've ever done. And
no,
I guess maybe he has. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they pay attention too. Those guys, that old school, yeah, they definitely pay attention and the cream rises to the top. They take notice for sure. So that was cool. So there you go. Is that one Quincy? There you go. I guess this is still his question probably here. He goes, favorite song from the fantastic new album is Hearing Things. Every week we got somebody. Everybody likes them all. My Mount Rushmore of favorite country artist is King George, AJ, Easton Corbin, and Brooks and Dunn. Look at Easton slipping in there with some legends. I hear you. I just saw where Easton actually is going on tour with our buddy Cody Johnson, who I'm wearing Kojo merch today, and a JM camo hat. Y'all better get these while you can over at Justin's website because we got a new hat coming, and I'm pretty sure once these are all gone, it may be a while, if ever, if we make another round of these camo Justin Moore hats. So y'all make sure to get you one of those out there, podcast world. But yeah, saw that. So that's cool. Thanks, boys, and cheers from the Hoosier State. So appreciate that, Quincy. Next one I got here is from Buck Daddy 8. Hey, howdy, JR. I'm a huge fan of the show. Just wanted to let y'all know that my 21st birthday was last week on the 19th, and I bought a beer twice and am not yet to be ID'd. But the first time I went to buy a can of dip, I got ID'd. That system seems a little funky. I appreciate y'all. Let's catch a Braves game or some fish sometime. Much love from Georgia.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in the same. I kind of remember that too. It seems like back in the day, I used to get more static trying to get cigarettes than I did beer. But I shouldn't have been getting either one of them. So all you underage folks, just save it. Just wait. I promise it's worth the wait. But there's that from Quincy. Let's see which one I got here. Evan Fortson at Evan Fortson 11. Fellow Arkansan, working on the farm and love listening to the podcast on the tractor. Appreciate that, Evan. We'll say we got a lot of those driving trucks or driving tractors. People listen to the podcast, and we appreciate y'all spending that time with us. Let's see. Here we go. Matt Hank, 31. JR, love the podcast. Look forward to it every week. Just a good old boy down here in South Central Texas. The Red Akins episode was my favorite. Keep it on, brother. Hope y'all play a show close to San Antonio soon. # Roll Tide. # Justin Moore Podcast. Thanks for the heads up last week on the podcast about Tennessee whiskey documentary on Dean Dillon. It was an awesome watch. So appreciate that, Matt.
Really, really good.
Yeah, appreciate your support there, Matt, down in South Texas. I'm sure we'll be over at that point. I hope we get to play the San Antonio Rodeo this year. That was a fun we hadn't done in a few years, so hopefully we'll be back down there. And y'all make sure to go to justinmooremusic.com and look on the tour dates because we do have new dates popping up every couple of days. And I know some people have asked me, is this date going to happen? Is this date, is this Atlanta show going to stay? Is this going to be rescheduled? If it's on there,
yes.
Yeah, if it's on the schedule, we're planning on doing it, and if something changes, you'll know as soon as we do. So anything that's on our tour schedule right now on Justin's website is in the books for us to be there. And unless something out of our control changes, we're going to be there.
Yeah, knock on wood. I mean, we haven't had anything canceled in a long time. So,
yep.
I mean, not to say it couldn't happen, obviously, but odds are now we're pretty much good to go, I think.
I think so, too. Let's see what else I got here. Let's get another one in here, Justin, then we'll get on out of here for the day. I know I got to get packed. We got to get ready.
You got to go to work.
Yep, time to get back to work. Let's see. Which is this one here? Sorry, I'm unsober professional, everybody.
While he's fumbling around there, just want to reiterate how much we appreciate you guys tuning in each week and listening to this. And, we started this thing thinking, hell, if anybody listens, great. And if they don't, that's fine too. No big deal. It's just some time on our behalf. And the fact that we've gotten the response from you guys is that we have has been just awesome, and not only can you find us out there wherever you get your podcast, but hell, we're on a radio station. I know it's here locally in Little Rock, but it's if you're local like myself, I mean, that's kind of a cool deal too. It's 106.7 The Buzz 2 if you're local in Central Arkansas. So just want to reiterate how much we appreciate you guys listening in each week, because it's been a lot of fun for JR and I. We've gotten to meet, some of our heroes like William Lee Golden today, and spend time with, and that doesn't happen if you guys don't tune in, listen, interact with us with fan questions and that kind of stuff. So thank you guys again.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it any better myself. And I've got a couple of short ones here, so maybe we'll run through a few real quick. Let's see. Here's this one here. This is from our old buddy Dougie Mullet. This was pretty funny. Saw JM at Stir Cove. Oh, JM's going to be at Stir Cove on September 11th. That's my birthday. You can bet your ass I'll be there front row, and that's a promise. The mullet going to be flying for this show. Dougie's got a great mullet, so we look forward to seeing that mullet, Dougie Mullet. Our old buddy DP Hoyt always chimes in. He said, JM and JR, have y'all thought about, or it might be a thought at this point, for a duet album? How about Darius Rucker or Jake Owen for a collab? Since Justin's already buddies with them, just a thought. Those would be two good ones, no doubt.
Yeah, love both those guys, and they're both great singers.
Yeah, I got one here. This is from Adam McCann, 17 on Twitter. He goes, JR, the only thing that would make the JM podcast better would be having the one and only Rodney Carrington on. Love the podcast. I've listened to every episode.
That's
and
a
some of them
great
twice.
idea.
Absolutely. I've met Hot Rod a few times.
We definitely can make that happen, because I've met him as well, but we have mutual contacts / friends. So yeah, that's a great idea. I hadn't even thought of that. I'm great idea.
Put that on the list. Try to make that happen. Yeah, because I know we did a show with him when I was with you at the Texas Motor Speedway out in Texas one time. Big show, a bunch of people on the bill. And I remember afterwards we're all kind of standing around the buses, and Rodney's standing there. And, it's kind of funny being around a comedian, just like it was you. Everybody just expects you to just whip out a song every time you're hanging out. It's like you just magically have this guitar, and here I'm going to start playing for that. So everybody's kind of standing around like, is Rodney going to say something funny? And he just kind of looked around, and he nailed it. He just kind of looked around like, all right, well, I'm going to go on if nobody got nothing to talk about. So he just went to the bus, But it was kind of fun, like, so what are y'all doing? And we're all like, tell us a joke. So.
Maybe he can come on here and sing titties and beer for us.
Yes, Lord. And then John and I got to go hang out with him one time because they were on the same record label, and we went and saw him play in Nashville and hung out afterwards. And yeah, he had me rolling. I mean, absolutely rolling.
I think we have the same merch company, actually.
Probably so. I think same booking agents, or at least the agency for sure. So yeah, we'll definitely have to try to reach out and make that happen. Appreciate good call on that, Adam. Next one I got here is
that's a really good suggestion.
Yeah, good one. Scott Cogswell, Scotty C. How's your knowledge of JR? How's your knowledge of Canadian country music? Just curious. Thinking for potential to have a Canadian country music artist on the podcast. I do know some Canadian music. Obviously, one we've talked about. We're gonna have to reach out to her at some point. One of my favorite ever from Canada is Miss Terry Clark. I mean, no doubt, legend. And then now there's some guys and gals from Canada up on the charts and running around. I know Coulter Wall is a guy from Canada that I'm real familiar with. He's one of my new favorite guys in the last 5 years or so that I've been listening to his albums. And Cor Blund, the great Cor Blund, Canadian country music singer we've done a few shows with over the years. He's huge up there. Everybody in America may not know, but huge up there. I actually heard him on Chris Shiflett's podcast recently, and that was good. So I got to admit, Scott, though, I have some knowledge of Canadian country music, but not as much as I probably should and could. I tell you, I'm listening to another podcast right now about the group The Band, which was originally from Arkansas with Ronnie Hawkins and Levon Helm. But the rest of the band, they all met the rest of the band up in Toronto and ended up living in Toronto forever. Ronnie Hawkins still lives there. So one of my favorite rock bands, probably, them and the Allman Brothers and Skinner, that's probably my top three rock bands of all time, and they're from Canada. So there you go. I do know some Canada.
We're also really good friends with the boys from Emerson Drive. They'd be
Yes.
fun to have on. We got a really funny, or I've got a really funny story. It's before JR and I worked together, but about early on in my career, I rode their bus, and they might have pulled a prank on me. So that's a little teaser. Maybe we'll have to get those guys on too. Speaking of Canadian artists.
Yeah, no doubt. This one's Jim Benton at Boog Racing. JR and JM, what's the Netflix show y'all were talking about? The guy having coffee at his beehole. Can't remember the name. Also, great show. You guys love it. That would be Rectify. And like I told on the podcast,
Enter at your own risk.
Yeah, enter at your own risk. We didn't watch a whole season. We watched about 9 episodes. Realized it's just not our thing. We were trying to pick a show that our wives wouldn't get mad that we were watching without them. So we thought we'll just find some random show, and then we found some strange, dark, weird show. I don't know what they were going for with that show, but
not to be chauvinistic, there's a couple good-looking women on there.
There definitely is that. That was part of the attraction. And the girl's name, Amantha. Not Amanda, not
which
Samantha.
Makes zero
Amantha.
sense.
Yeah, and she chain smokes cigarettes all the time, and she's hot, and it was that kind of intriguing. It was weird. But anyway, that show was called Rectify, Enter at Your Own Risk. I don't suggest going to watch it unless you're at least, I don't know, probably 40 or older, because you need to have already seen some life. You don't need to be.
I think we got into season 2 maybe, but it was so. I don't even know how to explain it. I mean, I really don't. I'm kind of shockingly at a loss when it comes to describing that show, but yeah, go check it out. Honestly, please go check it out and let us know what you think.
Yeah, that's a good one for sure. All right, I got one right here from Instagram. This is Cassie. She asks, as I'm sitting at my son's baseball game, I thought, wouldn't it be something to look across the field and see JM in the dugout? So question for Justin is, do you ever get recognized at your daughter's games? And if so, do people make a scene, or are they laid back about it? I mean, I know the answer, but if you want to expand on that.
Yeah, I mean, they do. Yeah, they recognize me, but everybody's, for the most part, really respectful. I mean, it'll either be like, parents of kids that we're playing against or whatever, and they'll ask, hey, can I take a picture after the game's over? Or, a lot of times the coach won't say anything that we're playing against. And then after the game, he'll say, man, can I get a picture with my team? Will you? Of course I do it, obviously, every time. Making a scene, I don't know if people really – I mean, there are times where that happens, obviously, and it's like I got to – unfortunately, I got to bounce.
Right.
Because I don't want to take away from whatever. But, for the most part, everybody's really respectful and know that, I'm just there like any other dad or mom, coaching my kid and focused on winning a game,
Right.
So,
well, it's like you said, you're trying not to take away from what's going on there. And I'll relate this. I'll throw a little behind the curtain, little fan knowledge I'll drop on y'all, because this kind of correlates with that. Like Justin said, he don't want to take away from what the kids are doing by him being there. Same as if, like, and I'll use this as an example too. So say we're headlining a show and the direct support acts, somebody, most time we go watch direct support. So we want to go slip side stage or front of house to see the direct support or any of the gals on the bill. And if an artist is standing side stage or front of house or somewhere and you recognize them, cool. Give a thumbs up, give a wave, all that. But if another act is playing on the stage, don't ask for a picture. This is just what I've learned. I think this is the way to handle that.
I learned it early on by doing it wrong. So
right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so if we come out and Justin wants to watch, say, we were talking Easton earlier. We're doing a tour with Easton, and Easton's playing for us, so we want to come out and watch that. Well, while he's playing, that's disrespectful to him if we are over there taking away and everybody's over clicking pictures while he's trying to do his art form on stage, getting distracted side stage by whoever else is over there. It's also a celebrity. So it's the same thing goes there. Wait till there's an intermission, wait till there's a break. probably won't mind at all, but just definitely don't. And I've had to do this before. Just let him get through with the song. You know, we don't want to singing some ballad. Don't want click. What are these flashes over here side stage? Pay all that money to get those lights looking good for that. Then there's these side stuff. So that kind of goes with that. You know, just it don't want to take away from anybody else. Don't mind saying hello or signing a picture or, you know, taking a picture or whatever. But don't want to take away from what you're there to do, whether it be kids' ball games or something else.
Yeah, well, just to add to that, like in particular at a concert, I don't ever mind taking a picture or signing an autograph. It doesn't bother me in the least bit. I'm appreciative that people care enough.
Right.
But I will always answer with exactly what JR says. So look, after the show's over, after whomever's show is over, I'd be happy to do so, but I don't want to disrespect whoever's on stage. And it's kind of an unwritten rule between artists. You just don't do that. Yeah. You know, like I wouldn't go up if I were opening for Alan Jackson or whatever. I mean, I'm just hypothetically, I wouldn't go up and to my merch booth and sign autographs during his show because I would never want to take one person away from his show.
Right.
So just so you guys are aware, that's the thought process behind that is, you know, I don't want Easton going, man, what the F?
Yeah.
Not that Easton would ever do that, and we're just using him as an example.
Right.
So anyway, just so you guys know, there may be artists, like I always try to explain that in the moment, but there may be artists who don't explain that. They may just say no. That's why.
Right.
They're not being rude or unappreciative. You just don't do that.
Yep.
In other words.
Yep. Good point. Yep. I was going to say this too about the ball games because I have been and I've seen how it goes down. It's hard for you to be the biggest star at the ball games as long as Tucker's on one of y'all's ball teams because she's going to get all the attention because she'll run up just say whatever and she don't make. Oh yeah. She makes enough fuss for everybody.
She's the actually her and her family who we're great friends with, as you know. They actually got we live in Grant County,
right?
In Arkansas, and they were Grant County Farm Family of the Year.
Oh, awesome!
So they just did an interview, and her dad was just asking all of us, like, how would you describe Tucker? Because whoever interviewed him was asking, and I'm like, where do I begin?
Right.
To describe Tuck. But
that's
awesome kid, awesome.
Congrats
family.
To Bradley and Carrie and Harley and Tuck and the whole Warren family. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I didn't know that.
Pretty
Congrats.
cool.
Yeah, good people right there, no doubt. Well, I got one more.
So
here.
y'all get a little taste of what I do every day, getting interviewed.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I got one more here. We're gonna get on down the line, and this is it's wedding. So I guess it's wedding time of the year. Dylan Lineberger, DL33. Hey, JR, I'm a longtime listener of the Justin Moore podcast. I drive for UPS and look forward to every Thursday when the new episode comes out to listen to on my route. Me and my fiance are getting married May 7th, 2022. Congrats, Dylan. I'm wondering what yours and Justin's top 3 wedding/love songs would to be played at a wedding. It could be country or any genre.
I tell you, my favorite love song, maybe of all time, is it was written by Springsteen. He recorded it first, but the best version, in my opinion, of it is done by Chris Ledoux. It's called "Tougher Than the Rest."
Yes,
that's my favorite.
That's a good one. You know, for me, I got to go with a standard. Kind of sounds cliche, but man, this is a song and one of my favorite first R&B soul singers that I ever fell in love with off a tape back in the day. Mr. Percy Sledge, "When a Man Loves a Woman." That's as good as it gets. That was one of Muscle Shoals' first number ones, and I just what a great songs. And one that we actually played at my wedding is one of your songs off one of your albums or a few years ago. That's the way that's how I know you love me.
That's how I know you love me.
Yeah, that's a good one as far as JM songs. That's one we had in our.
What was y'all's first dance song?
That might have been
it.
That might have been it. I think that was it.
Ours was "At Last" by is it Ella Fitzgerald?
Yes, and then later Yeah, and then later on.
No. Maybe that's not who I'm thinking of. At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over. And life is like a song. That's not right. Etta James.
Etta James. There you go. I was about
Etta
to
James.
punch myself in the face. Etta James.
I don't like Ella Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Erase that.
Yes, and Beyonce played her in the Cadillac Records movie when they were talking about chess records and stuff.
Oh, at last.
So good.
That was our first dance.
Dance. Wow, that's a good one too. And I know for in the South here, one of the classics for the mother son dance, Simple Man. You know, I mean, just the it goes right. I know me and Bryce both danced to our moms with that one. I'm sure half of your buddies did too. So you got to get that one in there. So, but anyway, well, congrats, Dylan. Send me a message. Let me know. Next year. Your and your fiance's names and remind me of that. We'll give y'all a shout out before your wedding day on May 7th, 2022. But there's a couple there, and maybe everybody chime in and use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast and let us know what your favorite wedding song, love song is, and maybe help Dylan out with some suggestions there. And send them to me, and I'll put them up on Instagram and all that stuff, and we'll give some shout outs on that and revisit that in a couple of episodes. So appreciate that question. But any top 3 wedding love songs you'd play at a wedding, country or any genre? Y'all use the hashtag Justin Moore Podcast and send us some answers on that. Help old brother Dylan out before he ties the knot next year. In the words of Joey, don't do it. But no, do it, buddy. It's all good. Join the club. So anyway, well, that's all I got for today. We're about out of time. I know Justin's got 1,000 things to do. I got a couple of hundred myself, so we're going to peel out of here, get on down this dusty,
we got to go to work.
That's it. Get back to work down this old dusty, windy country road, this old Dixie Road, as Lee Greenwood once wrote about. And we'll see you guys here week after next. So y'all stay tuned. Go to Instagram and check out the Justin Moore Podcast Instagram page. Follow that. We update that. I let Cody know what's going on so we can keep that updated more and keep y'all in the loop when the shows will be dropping. So y'all check that out. And remember to go to justinmooremusic.com. Look at all Justin's tour dates. Check out the new merch. All that fun stuff. If for some crazy reason you haven't gotten straight out of the country yet, go ahead and download it, buy it, stream it, all that fun stuff. Go to jrthehandler.com too once you're done doing that, if you don't mind. Check out my new merch stuff I got there. I'm trying to get some links up, but I hadn't had time this week to get them up. But go back if you get a chance, and after you listen to all of our podcasts and want to hear me BS with some other guys about just music stuff, check out Climb the Ladder podcast, episode 50, and also Every Playlist Tells a Story, episode 50. I'm on there talking with those guys. Y'all check that out. As we always say, remember to like, rate, subscribe, hit the notifications button, give us that 5-star rating, and a nice little short, sweet review would be awesome. Check us out on YouTube. Tell everybody at your family events for 4th of July weekend about the Justin Moore Podcast if they don't know already. And y'all stay safe. Don't use too much lighter fluid. Don't do anything too crazy.
Happy birthday, America.
That's right. God bless America and God bless y'all. Thank y'all, Podcast Land, for tuning in to this week's installment of the Justin Moore Podcast. And we'll be back soon. So y'all stay tuned. Tune in, tune out, turn it up, turn it on loud. Come see us at a show sometime. Love y'all. See y'all soon.
Later.
For any of you first-time listeners out there, at the end of each of our episodes, I like to do a little reading out of a book I've had that I've got a lot of use out of over the years. The book is by Mr. Charlie Daniels, and the book is called Let's All Make the Day Count, The Everyday Wisdom of Charlie Daniels.
One knot. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. In 1967, Bob Johnson, who had just taken over as head of Columbia Records in Nashville, called me out of the clear blue sky and asked me if I'd like to move to Music City. It would mean making a living in one of the most musically competitive towns in the country. It would mean moving a wife and a 2-year-old baby boy to strange surroundings where we knew practically no one and starting all over again. I talked it over with my wife, and it took her all of about 2 minutes to agree with me. Regardless of the obvious obstacles, we knew we should make the move. We heard the gentle knock of opportunity and heeded it. We hit Music City with a $20 bill and a clutch burned out in our car. Our time in Nashville has been a wild and wonderful ride, challenging, exciting, fulfilling. We made the move over 50 years ago, and I've never regretted barely audible voice of opportunity on that day in 1967. I don't even want to think about what would have happened had I not. I've had occasions in my life when the fleeting opportunity has been briefly within my grasp, and if I was not perceptive enough to take advantage, it would move along to knock gently on another door. Opportunity never lingers. She knocks once, will swiftly move along, and is seldom caught from behind. Let's all make the day count.